Historic preservation is about much more than just aesthetics, about beautiful old buildings that are worth preserving solely for their beauty and architectural character. Historic preservation is also important because it's about our economic development. It's about revitalization in our communities. It's about using the history of our city as a marketing tool to attract visitors and attract economic reinvestment.
This was a building that was built in 1924 in the period of great growth of Hollywood as a 5-story office building built in a Gothic style. A 3-story addition was made to it in 1929. Historically, the building has been one of the prominent office buildings in Hollywood. It housed the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Screen Actors Guild, and very prominently Ronald Reagan had his office as president of the Screen Actors Guild here from 1947 to 1953, which that office, in fact, in the corner right above us, has been preserved. Much of the paneling and the floor plan of that office was preserved, although the unit was converted to residential. That's what we have done with the building, is we took the 8 floors, leaving the ground floor lobby and 2 retail spaces as retail, and have put in 42 residential units, they're apartments, on the upper 7 floors. It has been made possible in large part due to 3 significant incentives. One is the adaptive reuse program, which has been adopted by the City of Los Angeles and is permitted in downtown Los Angeles, Wilshire Boulevard area, and Hollywood. But moreover, for a building that is a historic building, we are able to take advantage of a federal and state tax credit program that is for buildings that are rehabilitated in conformance with Secretary of Interior guidelines. And in addition, we've been able to take advantage of a program called the Mills Act, which provides for a property tax abatement for up to 10 years.
The older side of downtown, when you get into the historic core and even further east, those are areas of the city that have stood in for virtually every city on the East Coast, other countries. You know, Prestige would be a good example. It was a movie that was shot about 2 years ago downtown on Broadway. The entire movie took place in Victorian-era London. But because of some of the grand movie palaces there and some of the older buildings, it was able to fit right in as turn-of-the-century London. But large parts of LA, particularly on the east side, the older brick buildings, they sit in for New York and Philadelphia and Chicago routinely. LA has a little bit of everything, an interesting place to live, the architecture that's here. We've got some of the most modern, beautiful architecture, and we have some of the fantastic old architecture that people don't immediately think LA has. But so I think it's a mix. It's the mix of the people and the buildings and the history here that make LA such an interesting place to be. But in the long run, I think it's important because it's, you know, first step that you have to do is catalog and understand and inventory some of the great buildings that we have here. And a lot of the filmmakers and the film crews know about these places, and the scouts and location managers, but I think the wider public is not aware of the wealth of architecture and older buildings that we have. And so if you can get some people that are concerned and appreciative of some of these older buildings, having these older buildings here selfishly for Film LA and for the industry is a benefit, because it allows people to do some filmmaking here that they might have to go elsewhere and do if we don't keep and restore and, you know, hang on to these buildings.
SurveyLA is ultimately a planning tool, giving policymakers, community members, property owners, and developers alike comprehensive information on Los Angeles' architectural, cultural, historic, and social history in a way that is manageable, is centralized, contained in one place, available to all on the web, to guide our decisions as a city and guide private investment as we move forward and constantly evolve in an ever-changing Los Angeles.
This information is great for all Angelenos, but as a policymaker it has particular importance to me because the decisions that we make about land use often happen so quickly in this city that we don't have enough time to assess the historical significance of our actions. This will give me a place to readily go to immediately have deep and broad knowledge about a neighborhood or a building and to be able to preserve that history that we have even as we build a new city here in Los Angeles.
It establishes a baseline of understanding of what defines a high-quality building within a community, and also defines where there's opportunity to allow change in a community.
SurveyLA is only going to be a success if the community is actively involved in this process. It's community members themselves who know best what is significant in their own neighborhood.
I think a citywide survey is really a great attempt to put together the history, the diversity, all the different stories that help to make Los Angeles this great cosmopolitan area.
I think we recognize in city government that as much knowledge as the government has, the people of Los Angeles have even more. Those stories that are handed down from families, people who have lived in neighborhoods or whose families used to be there, we want them to be a part of this project. We want them to go to the SurveyLA website to let us know what history they know so that we can add that to the pool of knowledge that we have.
This will allow neighbors to both maintain and regenerate these neighborhoods, making Los Angeles the highly livable place it has always been.
I think that we're going to find a lot of ways in which we understand one another and really appreciate the values that everybody has brought to creating this fabulous city.
Our work does good work in the world for others. We've succeeded.
We're brave enough to do it. That we're brave enough to think of the magnitude of a city like Los Angeles, the complexity of a city like Los Angeles, and say yes, together with the city, with the Getty, with National Trust, with whomever and everyone we can, to pull a really incredible team of consultants and historians and thinkers and politicians and citizens together to say we're going to do this. We're going to survey 880,000 parcels and we're going to make some sense.